I've got him. The Obama Diaries. You thought there was no drama behind Obama? Well, guess what?
Do you like watching political news? If so, this is an interesting video for you. If not, keep watching to see that political life is also extremely vibrant with interesting characters and events. In this video, let's learn about Laura Ingram, an American conservative TV host. Ingram has long been a prominent figure in the world of television, known for her strong, steadfast stance against powerful figures. With her widely accepted, but often controversial, views, she has attracted attention by targeting high-profile targets, including current Vice President and presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Recently, there have been rumors of a major change, suggesting that Ingram may leave Fox News. Will those rumors come true? And what sparked those rumors? Let's find out in this video. Before we get into this, let's learn about Ingraham's life and career. Family and education. There is a lot of talk about Laura Ingram in the American media, especially about how right she is. She has been the host of the Fox News show The Ingraham Angle since October 2017. On the show, she talks about a wide range of political and social topics, which often leads to heated arguments. In addition to her work on TV, she is also the editor-in-chief of the news and opinion website LiveZet. A nationally syndicated radio show called The Laura Ingram Show gave Laura a chance to meet with people all over the United States before she became famous on TV. He was born on June 19, 1963, and lived in Glastonbury, Connecticut, as a child. Her father was of Irish and English descent, and her maternal grandparents came from Poland. Laura comes from a very rich family history. Her maternal grandparents came to the United States from Poland and brought traditions and ideals from their home country with them. Her father, on the other hand, was born in Ireland and raised in England. Laura did really well in school and was very interested in her community when she was growing up in Glastonbury. She finished Glastonbury High School in 1981 and plans to go to college and work in the media. Because Laura loved books and languages so much, she went to Dartmouth College and majored in both English literature and Russian. She earned her Bachelor of Arts in 1985. Laura's college years were very important because they shaped her views and helped her improve her speaking skills. After high school, she took her skills to Washington, D.C., and worked as a speechwriter for President Ronald Reagan's domestic policy assistant for a few years. This job taught her a lot about politics and helped her explain complicated ideas. Laura went to the University of Virginia School of Law to get a law degree because she wanted to learn more and have more job choices. While she was there, she became a notes editor for the Virginia Law Review. This is where she learned about the complicated law and added to legal scholarship. She got her Juris Doctorate in 1991 and was ready to take on new tasks in the media and legal fields. Laura Ingram's remarkable career. Laura Ingram's long and successful career began as a speechwriter. Later, she moved into TV and became a famous host. In the late 1980s, Laura Ingram got her start in politics when she worked as a speechwriter for the Reagan administration, especially as an advisor on domestic policy. She was able to learn more about how policies are made and become more involved in politics through this job. During this time, she was also editor of The Prospect for a short time. The Prospect is a magazine put out by concerned Princeton graduates, and she helped shape conversations about education and conservative values. Laura's work took a big turn after she got her law degree in 1991. From 1991 to 1992, she worked as a law clerk for Judge Ralph K. Winter, Jr., at the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. This important job gave her a look into how the court system works and let her work closely with a well-known judge. After that, she had the pleasure of working as a clerk for Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas from 1992 to 1993. This had a big impact on how she thought about law. After her clerkships, Laura became an attorney at the well-known law firm Skadden, Arps, Slate, Megger, and Flom. There, she improved her legal knowledge and gained useful experience working under a lot of stress. In 1995, she was on the cover of the New York Times Magazine, which had a story about young conservatives making their mark in politics and the media. This brought attention to her growing fame in conservative groups. Laura and her coworker J.P. Lefkowitz put together the first Dark Ages weekend in 1996. It was meant to be the opposite of the more liberal Renaissance weekend. The goal of this event was to bring together conservatives with similar views to talk about ideas and plans. This event strengthened Laura's place in the conservative movement even more. There was a time in 1996 when Laura's first job in the media was as a host on MSNBC. A lot of people knew her right away because of her sharp comments and interesting personality. In the late 1990s, she moved to CBS as an analyst and became the host of the MSNBC show Watch It. Even though she was successful, Laura wanted her own show where she could say what she really thought. Fox News Channel saw her promise in 2008 and gave her a 3-week test run on a new show called Just In. This chance was the first step in her work as a TV host. Finally, in October 2017, Laura Ingraham got a big job as the host of the Ingraham Angle, a show that would make her voice and right views on national issues even stronger. Laura has gone from writing speeches to hosting TV shows and is now a powerful figure in conservative media. She changed the way people talk about important problems in American society and is known as a pioneering radio host and important media figure. In April 2001, Laura Ingraham started The Laura Ingraham Show, a radio show that was broadcast all over the country and quickly became a mainstay in the right media. With broadcasts on 306 stations and XM satellite radio, the show reached a huge following. At first, Westwood One syndicated it, but Laura made a smart move in 2004 and moved it to the talk radio network. This change gave her more opportunities to reach and affect people in the radio world. Her hard work and interesting personality paid off. Talkers magazine ranked The Laura Ingraham Show as the 5th most popular radio show in the United States in 2012. This award showed how well she could connect with people about a wide range of problems, from politics to culture. But after almost 10 years with the talk radio network, Laura chose to leave. In November 2012, she made her decision public. Michael Savage of the Savage Nation, another well-known host, also left the network soon after her, which caused a big change in TRN's schedule. It didn't take long for Ingraham to find a new place for her show. As of January 2, 2013, her new show, which was broadcast by Courtside Entertainment Group, gave her new chances and challenges. With this new job, she was able to keep working in radio and keep reaching a lot of people. The show unfortunately ended in December 2018. But Laura has changed with the times by creating podcasts for Courtside's Podcast One section. This shows how versatile she is and how much she wants to stay relevant in the media world, which is always changing. Laura's background in writing and law has shaped how she approaches radio work. In addition to her radio work, she got her Bachelor of Arts degree in 1985 from Dartmouth College, where she studied English literature and Russian. This education not only helped her communicate better, but also sparked her interest in learning more about complicated problems. Laura moved to Washington, D.C., after college and worked as a speechwriter for President Ronald Reagan's domestic policy assistant for a few years. This experience put her in touch with politics and helped her become better at explaining conservative points of view. Laura went to the University of Virginia School of Law to get a law degree because she wanted to learn more and advance her job. She worked as a notes editor for the Virginia Law Review while she was in school. There, she added to legal scholarship and learned more about the law. She got her Juris Doctor in 1991 and was ready to take on new tasks in both the legal and media fields. Her political view. Let's talk for a while about her political ideas. Politico called Laura Ingram a name-brand provocateur and said she was no stranger to generating controversy by variety, and she has a controversial voice in the right media. People pay attention to how she talks on the air because she gets into heated arguments about race, gun violence, and other touchy subjects. Ingram has said that Ronald Reagan, Robert Bork, and Pat Buchanan were important to her and helped shape her ideas and way of writing about politics. In Laura's senior year at Dartmouth College, she was in charge of the Dartmouth Review, an independent school newspaper. Because of this job, her controversial editing choices came to the public's attention. In 1984, she sent a reporter to a meeting of the campus's Gay Students Association as a spy. After the meeting, Ingram put out a transcript with the names of the people who were there and called them cheerleaders for latent campus sodomites. A lot of people didn't like this move, especially since participants had been read an oath of secrecy. Ingram defended what she did by saying that the meeting wasn't private because it was publicized. She said that putting the names out there was a problem with freedom of the press. Jeffrey Hart, the faculty advisor for the Dartmouth Review, said that her views on homosexuality were the most extreme anti-homosexual views he could think of. Hart said that Ingram avoided a nearby restaurant because she thought the waitstaff might be gay, which shows how strong her beliefs were at the time. But in the late 1990s, Ingram's ideas about homosexuals changed in a big way. She changed her mind about being gay after seeing her brother Curtis and his partner show respect, loyalty, and bravery when Curtis's partner was diagnosed with AIDS. She wrote an article for the Washington Post in 1997 about this. Sad to say, Curtis's partner died in the end from the cancer. Because of this personal experience, Ingram had to rethink her beliefs and show that she had a better understanding of the problems the LGBTQ+ group faces. Even with this change, her relationship with her brother has been rough. Curtis has spoken out against Laura, calling her a monster and saying that her earlier views came from their abusive, drunken father, who he called a Nazi sympathizer. Ingram supports civil unions for same-sex couples but believes that marriage should only be between a man and a woman. She has strong opinions on immigration and some things that people don't like about her. Laura Ingram's views on immigration. She is a well-known and sometimes divisive figure in the American media, especially when it comes to immigration, because she criticizes loudly and is against immigrants. She is a well-known conservative voice. Ingram has always been against different attempts to change immigration laws. One example is the Joint Comprehensive Immigration Reform Plan that the U.S. Senate put forward in 2013. She spoke out against the idea of letting more foreign workers into the U.S., saying that it would be offensive to the American way of life. This feeling is similar to how Ingram has felt about immigration in general throughout her work. In 2014, she didn't hold back her criticism of House Majority Leader Eric Cantor after he said he supported the DREAM Act, a bill that would have given young immigrants a way to become citizens. Dave Bratt, a candidate who was very against the establishment, was running against Cantor in the primary at that time. The New York Times wrote that Ingram was so against Cantor that she said, "Few people did more than Miss Ingram to propel Mr. Bratt from obscurity to national conservative hero." She saw Bratt's victory as a big rejection of immigration reform as it has been done in the past, saying that immigration reform is dead after that race. Later that same year, Ingram started to criticize Republican Congresswoman Renee Elmers. Elmers had backed a broad immigration bill that would have given about 11 million undocumented immigrants a way to become citizens. Ingram accused Elmers of supporting amnesty and using what she called liberal talking points during an interview with her, which she said made her viewers angry. This event made it even clearer that she is a strong opponent of any immigration change that could allow undocumented people to become citizens. Criticism of immigration policies. Reports came out in September 2017 that President Donald Trump was thinking about making a deal with Democrats to grant freedom to about 800,000 Dreamers. Ingram took to Twitter to say she didn't agree with this. She asked, "When does the American working class get a 15-hour pay raise and parents who send their kids to public schools that are already too crowded get amnesty?" This tweet summed up her view that immigration policies that could help illegal immigrants should not come before the needs of American workers, especially when it comes to public schools and wages that don't go up. In July 2018, Ingram made her complaints even stronger by going after Republican Congressman Kevin Yoder. Ingram scolded Yoder for betraying the Trump plan after he backed a Democratic bill that would have undone Attorney General Jeff Sessions' order that told immigration judges they couldn't give asylum to people fleeing domestic violence or gang violence. Her public criticism of other Republicans showed how serious she was about taking a hard-line stand on immigration, demanding that lawmakers follow the administration's rules. In February 2018, Ingram was in the news for saying mean things about LeBron James and Kevin Durant. After James said that Trump's comments were both funny and scary, Ingram told the players to be quiet and dribble. Many people said that her comments were racially charged, so Ingram made it clear that she wasn't trying to be racist. She talked about her earlier book, Shut Up and Sing, to show that she had always said that artists shouldn't make political statements. This showed how sensitive race and fame are in America, and how people reacted differently to her words depending on which athletes she was talking about. On the other hand, Ingram got in trouble for backing white NFL player Drew Brees when he attacked players who kneeled during the national anthem as a form of protest. People who didn't agree with her pointed out that she had different reactions to similar situations involving athletes of different races. This made people wonder whether or not her comments were fair and consistent. Ingram also supported the controversial policy of separating children of undocumented immigrants from their parents, which is called zero tolerance. In a show on June 18, 2018, she said that the facility's housing for separated children was like summer camps and boarding schools. She played down the serious concerns that critics had raised about how these children were being treated. She said that the reaction against the policy was just fake liberal outrage, and that her defense was based on her commitment to strict immigration enforcement. During this time, she called people crossing the border a slow-rolling invasion of the United States. This was seen as an offensive term. David Hogg, a school shooting survivor and activist, called for a second boycott of her show after what she said. Hogg had previously led a campaign telling sponsors to stay away from the Ingram angle, but marketers talked to by The Hollywood Reporter said they had no plans to leave, which showed that her audience stayed strong. Views on the epidemic. Ingram has been in the news for more than just her views on immigration. She has also made controversial comments about health and disease. During the Ebola breakout in September 2014, she said that President Barack Obama had sent aid to Africa to make up for his feelings of guilt over colonialism. This statement was criticized, and it showed how Ingram often linked unrelated political acts to bigger ideological stories, which made her audience and critics argue. During the coronavirus pandemic, Ingraham frequently questioned the safety of vaccines and instead pushed for the use of the drug hydroxychloroquine, which has not been proven to treat coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19. Her words about it being a miracle drug made people want to be on her show to sell it. After Robert R. Redfield, head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, warned people not to use the drug, she made fun of him. After a study that tested the drug on 368 Veterans Affairs patients and found that it was linked to a higher chance of death, she called the study incompetent, shockingly irresponsible, and biased. In May 2020, Ingram spoke out against making people wear face masks in public to stop the spread of the coronavirus. She talked about Harmeet Dillon, a Republican activist who sued California to stop the execution of stay-at-home orders meant to stop the spread of the coronavirus. She praised her for being in charge of stopping Gavin Newsom from taking too much power. As of October 2020, Ingraham and her friend Victor Davis Hanson told false stories on her show about how New Zealand dealt with the pandemic. The scary new reaction she was talking about was months old, and she called New Zealand's managed isolation facilities camps when they are really fancy hotels. Help for Donald Trump and bad things said about Kamala Harris. Laura Ingram has been in the news a lot because she is a strong supporter of Donald Trump and a harsh critic of Vice President Kamala Harris. These changes show not only her political views, but also the larger party gaps in American politics and the media. Since the beginning of his political career, Ingram has been a devoted backer of Donald Trump. When he became the Republican choice in 2016, Ingram spoke in favor of him at the Republican National Convention. Her support for and comments on Trump have made it clear that she agrees with him, making her one of his most vocal supporters in right media. As Trump was president, Ingram often served as an unofficial advisor to the administration. This role brought up questions about the ethics of journalism. She has been known to blur the lines between journalism and partisanship by openly supporting Trump's policies and plans and downplaying or ignoring criticisms of him. Because she was a well-known Fox News host and supported Trump's plans, she became even more influential in conservative groups. Ingram has always been critical of Kamala Harris, even though she supported Trump. Her criticisms are usually about Harris's skills and behavior. In an episode of The Ingram Angle, Ingram called Harris not serious and questioned her ability to be vice president. This criticism was similar to what Trump and other conservative critics had said, especially about Harris's laughter and behavior in public. Ingram specifically pointed out Harris's speech at the Munich Security Conference in 2022, in which she warned over and over again of a possible war in Europe because of rising relations with Russia. Ingram made fun of Harris's comments by saying that her ideas about important issues like Ukraine were too much for most people to handle. This comment added to Ingram's plan to make fun of Harris's public appearances and make her seem like she doesn't understand how important international problems are. Ingram's comments often end with video clips showing Harris's public interactions, such as times when she is seen hugging famous people like Bill and Hillary Clinton, by calling Harris the hugger-in-chief. Ingram makes Harris's job seem less important and suggests that her friendly and approachable way of dealing with politics makes her less qualified for office. Some conservatives like this way of putting things because they think that politicians showing feelings is a sign of weakness. Recently, something cool took place. In a recent episode on the Ingram Angle, Laura Ingram criticized Kamala Harris for not having enough experience as a presidential candidate and said that her main strength was showing how she felt. Ingram said, "But she feels," laughs, and hugs, which seems to suggest that these traits are not enough for serious political leadership. Ingram tried to make Harris's kindness and ability to connect with others seem like flaws instead of strengths by focusing on these traits. Ingram's comment fits into a larger criticism that is often leveled at female politicians. Emotional intelligence and people skills are seen as unimportant. Some of her fans have agreed with this line of attack, but it has also gotten a lot of negative feedback, especially on social media sites like X, formerly Twitter. After Ingram's show, people on X quickly pushed back against what she said. Many people talked about how important humanity and leadership are and said that Harris's strength, not weakness, is her ability to connect with people through kindness and warmth. Ingram's criticism may be a reflection of a deeper cultural bias against showing emotion in politics. As one user pointed out, showing compassion and understanding is a bad thing in their book. Someone else said nice things about Harris and said that touching, laughing, and being herself are her superpowers. This statement is very different from Ingram's, and it makes me think that Harris's emotional honesty is a big part of her political identity. This running story about Harris is not unique. The Republican candidate for president, Donald Trump, has also made fun of Harris. At a campaign gathering in Michigan, he called her Laughing Kamala. His opinions sound a lot like Ingram's, which supports the idea that conservatives find it funny when female politicians show emotion. But, like Ingram, Trump was criticized for this characterization. Many people say that making fun of people makes sensitivity and good leadership less important. Rumors of Laura being kicked out of Fox. Now, because of these and other problems, a report spread that Fox was also going to fire Laura Ingram. So, does this make sense? Get kicked out of Fox? Early in May 2024, there were reports going around on social media that Laura Ingram's popular show, The Ingram Angle, had been canceled by Fox News. This story said that the show was canceled because of pressure from sponsors and health problems with the host. But when you look more closely, you can see that these stories are based on a complicated web of false information and online manipulation. The fake news started on a Facebook page that had a bunch of ads with shocking headlines like, "You'll never see Laura Ingram again." These ads smartly avoided making direct claims about the shows, cancellation so they wouldn't get in trouble with content reviewers or advertising rules. Facebook and Instagram are both owned by Meta, which lets pages run coordinated advertising efforts across all of its platforms. This means that false ads can quickly get to a lot of people before they can be checked for accuracy or shown to be false. When people clicked on these ads, they were taken to a domain called Borat2, NK, that looked a lot like Fox News' official website. The title of the fake news story said, "Lawsuits pile up as sponsors threaten Fox, the official end of the Ingram Angle." This shocking language was chosen to get people's attention and get them to react, playing on the existing issues about how advertisers affect the media. The piece, which said it was written by Heaton L., added to the story by saying that Ingram had been diagnosed with a type of dementia and was treating it with CBD gummies. It even seemed like she bought a recipe for these sweets to sell to people. This mix of health claims and alleged business moves not only made things more interesting but also played on people's fears and worries about mental health. Spreading this kind of false information can lead to bad things. False rumors about a public figure's health can make mental health problems seem more common. And rumors that a show will be canceled can hurt both sponsors and viewers. It's getting harder to trust the media because the lines between real news and fake stories are becoming less clear. In addition, these strategies show how hard it is for social media sites to moderate material. As advertisers gain more power over television choices, it's clear that content creators like Ingram are worried. Misleading information can make these problems worse by making fans and sponsors even more angry. This is called unpacking misinformation. There was a lot of talk in early May 2024 that Laura Ingram's show, The Ingram Angle, was going to be canceled. But as of June 10, 2024, the show is still going. Furthermore, there has been no public proof that Ingram is experiencing any of the health problems mentioned in the false reports. The sensational story said that famous people like Fox host Sean Hannity, political commentator Ann Coulter, and actor Kevin Costner were promoting a product that had something to do with Ingram. It also said crazy things like that the big drug company Pfizer was trying to get Fox News to stop Ingram from selling his products. Not only do these claims lack proof, they also try to change people's minds by using fake endorsements. The story says that CBD products can help treat dementia, but there is no scientific evidence to back this up. At this point, there aren't any good studies that prove CBD can help treat this disease. When CBD is used for such major health problems, it raises ethical concerns, especially when it is used for profit without any solid proof. The rise of ads that aren't what they seem to be. Sadly, these kinds of fake news stories and ads are very popular on social media sites. They often say that their products have been endorsed by well-known media personalities or shows to make it look like the products are real and get people who aren't paying attention to engage with or buy the products. Even though many social networks say they check the content of ads, there are still a lot of false ads that often make scammers a lot of money. At first look, these campaigns may seem real because of how well thought out they are. A lot of the time, they use professional design features and try to look like real news sources, which can fool even smart readers. It's easy to fall for these scams if you don't look closely. The false claims about Laura Ingram and her show how important it is to know how to use media properly in today's digital world. People need to be careful and think carefully about the information they find, especially on social media. Getting people to understand that false ads can look like real news is an important part of making people smarter. The impact of her views. Laura Ingram has become a well-known person in the conservative media and has a lot of power over public opinion, especially when it comes to controversial topics like immigration. She has strong views that many conservatives agree with. They like how she is honest and confident. But the same method often gets her harsh criticism from people who think her comments are hurtful or not based on facts. A lot of people really like Ingram because she can say what she thinks with passion. A lot of her supporters like how she sticks to traditional conservative beliefs and criticizes liberal policies. For example, her strong opposition to comprehensive immigration reform is typical of many people in her audience, who think that such measures are bad for American jobs and national identity. People who want a strong, unapologetic voice in a media environment that often feels fragmented and politically charged, like her catchphrases and empathic language. Even though Ingram is well known, her speech is sometimes controversial. Some people say that what she says spreads false information and makes people less united in their towns. For example, her description of immigration as a slow-rolling invasion has been criticized as exaggerated and meant to stir up fear, which makes the environment less welcoming to newcomers. This has caused more people to talk about the role of media figures in shaping public conversation and the possible effects of using hurtful language. Even though people have different opinions about her, Ingram has had a huge impact on the national conversation. Because she is always in conservative media, She can change the stories about immigration and other important problems in the United States. She helps her fans stick to their beliefs while challenging the ideas of people on the political left by talking about these issues in a way that speaks to her audience. As a major figure in the conservative media, Ingram has to deal with a complicated world where politics and public opinion meet, because she doesn't back down from controversial topics. She stays at the top of national conversations and has an impact on both her audience and the political conversation as a whole. To sum up, Laura Ingram is a big deal in conservative media because of her strong views and divisive style. Her words have won her a lot of supporters, but they also lead to a lot of abuse. Ingram's willingness to talk about controversial issues makes her a strong voice that shapes the conversation in America about immigration and other important issues right now. Even though politics are always changing, her part in this situation is likely to stay the same. This shows how hard it is to live in a country that is divided. Do you like Laura Ingraham as a political person? Let us know what you think of her in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to get notified about new videos. If you have time, keep clicking to watch the videos that appear on your screen. They are also very worth watching. Thank you for watching the whole video.